From warfare in the depths of Africa to warfare in the Octagon, Benoit Saint-Denis is no stranger to chaos and combat. But just how much did a 5-year career in the French Special Forces shape the top 15 lightweight into what he is today? What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fight Scene YouTube channel. And in honor of UFC Paris being just right around the corner, I thought no better time than to dive into the career of Benoit Saint-Denis from the army to the Octagon. Born in the December of 1995 as the eldest of 5 brothers, BSD was welcomed into the world by a father who was a French army officer that practiced judo at a high level and a mother who was a teacher. Saint-Denis got his introduction to the world of combat sports at a young age, earning his black belt in judo at just the age of 8. Skip forward a decade and an 18-year-old Benoit Saint-Denis is joining the French army, and shortly after is selected for the French Special Forces, serving with the 1st Marine Infantry Paratroopers regime, known as an elite unit of the French army. During his time with the unit, BSD was primarily located in Mali and Burkina Faso in Africa, fighting against terrorist groups like Boko Haram. He was awarded the Medal of Nations Gratitude and the Combatant's Cross in the September of 2017. While it is known that BSD left the army in 2019, he had competed in martial arts events during his time with the army. He started training kickboxing in BJJ in 2017 with Stefan Susperegi and Christophe Savoca. In BJJ competition, he would win with his blue belt at the 2017 West Zone Championship in France, as well as competing in the 2017 IBJJF Paris International Open No-Gi Championship, coming in 3rd place. He would then win this competition in the following year in 2018. So, with no doubt he could compete in BJJ tournaments, but BSD decided it was time to practice and compete in MMA, with his main focus being to improve his SAS close combat skills. If you don't know, SAS, Special Forces. He entered the Invictus XV 8-man amateur tournament and won his first 2 matches by submission and the final by decision against a fighter who already had professional experience. Benoit had not. In September of 2018, Daniel Warren, the French coach who was responsible for belts won by Anderson Silva, Dan Henderson, and Lyoto Machida, organized a test for 30 fighters in which Benoit stood out. With his contract coming to an end, Benoit Saint-Denis decided to leave the army in 2019, giving himself 2 years to make it in the highest level of MMA. The limit was 2 years because that's how long he had with his savings to train full-time and get signed by the UFC. He found great success early with Bulgarian top team, winning 6 fights in 11 months, followed by a barrage of finishes in Brave, ending as the #1 title contender of the super lightweight division. It was at this time that he signed with the UFC. BSD would then make his debut on short notice in 2021 against Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos at UFC 267 in the welterweight division. Unfortunately, it would not be the dream start that BSD had hoped for. He would get brutalized by dos Santos, getting dropped and pummeled in the 2nd and eye-poked early in the 3rd with only a 45-second rest before he had to continue. A unanimous decision loss on his debut, and a bout that left some questions for referee Vyacheslav Kiselov. After this, BSD would drop down to lightweight, and he would hit a run of 5 straight finishes, including the likes of Thiago Moises and Matt Frivola. Unfortunately, BSD would then meet his match against Dustin Poirier, as the UFC veteran would flatten him in the 2nd. The bad luck continued for BSD as he got brutalized by Renato Moicano in 2 rounds, and the doctor stopped the fight because Benoit could no longer see out of his right eye. BSD managed to bounce back at UFC 315 with an arm triangle submission of Kyle Prepelec in the 2nd, maintaining his perfect win via finished record, and he now faces Mauricio Ruffy coming up at UFC Paris on September 6th. A tough matchup for the God of War, who will be looking to remind those who've doubted him that he's worthy of the nickname. Now, at the beginning of the video, I posed the question, how much did his 5-year career in the French Special Forces shape him into the top 15 lightweight he is today. And ultimately, the reality is, of course, being in the army, being in the special forces, he would have trained many types of hand-to-hand combat. So of course, that would have helped him. However, if he had not joined the army and he just went to training straight away, he probably would have been as good as he is now, if not even better. I don't believe that being in the army helped him skill-wise. I think if he had just trained MMA normally, instead of being in the army, he would have maybe even been more skilled in his stand-up and other areas, because obviously he trained judo when he was a youngster. But being in the army certainly would have shaped his mentality. Dealing with the things he would have dealt with, the things he would have seen, being in a literal war zone, of course, would have shaped his mentality, his mindset, his outlook on things. So, of course, there are many advantages that would have come with being in the special forces. Ultimately, I don't think it helped him skillfully though. But that's just my opinion. Anyways, it is still an absolutely ridiculous career that this man has achieved, being a decorated army veteran in a way for 5 years, and now he's on his way to being a UFC veteran. It's quite an accomplishment, it's quite the career, and it just shows that you can do anything, but maybe not anything quite as insane as Benoit Saint Denis. So a reminder that the God of War will be back, and he will be fighting Mauricio Ruffy at UFC Paris. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.